What's up, you guys? This is Devin with CFXTV Studios, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about EOS-R 5, the new beast that Canon is touted to be one of the best mirrorless cameras in the world that's coming out pretty soon after this pandemic stuff is kind of clearing up and everybody is safe and we can actually sell a camera and send it out to you. Now, the EOS-R 5 is touting IBIS, inner or in-body stabilization, image stabilization, IBIS. That's where your sensor is moving around to compensate for all the movement that you do. This is by far the best type of stabilization ever. And lenses usually come with stabilization, especially on the Canon end. Canon has never actually given us IBIS before, and this is the first camera they're touting with IBIS. I have an excuse for Canon in this episode because Canon is always the safe company. They don't want to jump into anything too haphazardly because they don't want to, degrade the quality of their cameras, stuff like that. They didn't jump into 4K with, the DSLRs until really mirrorless came out and they were able to dissipate the heat because Sony was having all these kinds of problems. But Canon is not known to have these kinds of problems, and that's not their brand. So it's definitely feasible to say that they wanted to wait because this IBIS moves the sensor around. You have to think that moving the sensor around could probably damage something important on the internals, and you might get a lot of errors. It's a very sensitive place. People don't even want to touch their sensor, let alone knowing that it's moving around. And Canon does a lot of creative things that tell you that they're thinking outside of the box and not just following a bandwagon just to get you out of camera. Like, for example, the EOS-R, when you take off a lens, that actual sensor gets covered by like a shutter door or something like that, so you don't get dust on your sensor. That is extremely intuitive, extremely forward thinking, and extremely Canon. But they didn't do all that forward thinking with a lot of their other specs in comparison to all their other competitors. For example, IBIS took a long time to come out, but it would stand to believe that Canon is probably trying to be extra sensitive because the sensor is an extra sensitive thing to be manipulating while you're taking pictures. You know what I'm saying? That could probably distract from your image quality at some point too if your sensor is moving while you're taking an image. So Canon probably wanted to be extra careful and wait until they had a really, really beast of a camera like this new EOS-R 5 to put it in. But they say this IBIS technology is different in the way that it reacts. That whole notion screams Canon to me because think about when the AA filter was taken off the 5D SR and the 5DS. The 5DS had the AA filter, but the 5DSR didn't have the AA filter. And instead of them actually taking off the AA filter, they actually put some cancellation type of technology in there to replicate the same kind of effect. Now, this is the same mentality they're taking with the IBIS, because the IBIS is, again, the sensor itself. When you start manipulating the sensor directly, you start to get these issues that may have not been an issue with a stabilized sensor that wasn't moving before. So this screams Canon, and I know almost 95% that they're going to have a really, really good image stabilization system. And not only is it going to be good, it's going to work well with their new RF lens systems, RF lenses, because you have to understand that the RF lenses are probably Canon's heart, pride, and joy. Canon is known to be, if their bodies are not good, their lenses are definitely going to be class A grade, because Canon has just had that reputation, and they have more lenses than pretty much any other company. So that would stand to believe that the lenses are probably investing into, the market of Canon lenses as far as the sales are concerned, and they're probably able to make more because their lenses are so good in the first place. Everybody's seeing that white lens on the sidelines, and it's not just Sony that has white lens. It's actually Canon, because the Canon's been around longer than Sony as far as cameras are concerned. But all in all, guys, I think this IBIS is going to be good. I think it's going to be there. I think it's true. I think it's going to be great, and it screams Canon. It screams Canon's name all over it. That's why I believe it's because they're going to make it a different way. Same thing with their lenses. When they became popular and they popularized their EOS system brand, they made their lenses electronic, which beat Nikon out, who was just doing modifications to their older lenses, trying to make them work instead of rebuilding their whole lens structure from the bottom up as electronic. Yes, it's a gamble. Yes, but Canon went their own way and got some of the best results. And that's how Canon, in the large grand scheme of things, has been successful. The way they beat Leica out, was to make a Leica-like camera, but make it cheaper, make it their own way. They took a great concept. Sony was one of the first cameras to come out with the IBIS. And so they're taking that concept, but they're making it their own way. The anti-aliasing filter, I think Nikon has started that with the 800 series, but Canon was like, oh, we're going to do it later, but we're going to do it on our own terms. We're going to do it the way we want to do it. And so this whole IBIS, but a little bit different in Canon's way, screams Canon. And I'm almost 100% sure that they're going to do it. So I don't doubt that they're going to do it. And tell me what you think in the comments below, guys. Do you think they're going to make IBIS? Is the IBIS going to be any good? Is the IBIS going to mess up the camera? Is the camera going to tout everything that they're telling you and double downing on? I thought I'm going to CFX Studios, and stay tuned for the next video.